Hello guys, gals, non-binary pals, and waterfowls. It's me, Big Mike, and I'm back with a type of video I haven't done in a long time. And that's a Big Mike story time and a life advice video. And in this installment, I'm going to be discussing something that many people have trouble with, and that's meeting people and networking. Just the thought of meeting new people is enough to make some people nervous. So today, I'm going to share some advice that can help YouTubers, Vtubers, artists, game devs, and more in this area. And this is some hard-earned insight, fam. I got this through trial and error. But I'll get to that in a bit. So before we get into this, I just want to put up a disclaimer. Well, I'm not really sure if disclaimer is the right word to use here, but maybe note. But anyway, this is just my second life advice video. And so keeping with the tradition of the first, I want to keep the vibes chill and relaxed. So you're going to be seeing some gameplay footage in the background. And you may see a PowerPoint slide here and there as well. As to what game are you going to see? I don't know, fam, but we're going to find that part out together. So before we get into the advice, I want to share a personal story with you. I may seem like a very sociable person now, but I was not always like this, fam. Back when I was in high school, I was very popular. Everyone knew me. I played American football as a defensive lineman, and I was on the track team where I competed in both the shot put and discus events. I was heavily involved with art, with theater, and the school's literary journal. I was also in quite a few honor societies because of my grades. As a result, I never really had to go out and make friends or meet people. People just sort of gravitated towards me. And this all changed when I went to university. There's a proverb from Egypt that says, whoever leaves his home loses his prestige. And I 100% believe that, fam. Most of my first year in college, I was very lonely. I didn't have any friends and I didn't know how to approach people because I never had to. But I decided going into my second year that year was going to be different. So I started putting myself out there more. And I'd start striking up conversations with people who sat beside me in class. And sometimes I'd see people eating alone in the cafeteria and ask if they'd mind if I joined them. It wasn't easy at first, and early on, a lot of these attempts didn't really go anywhere. But starting my junior year, things started to really take off for me. I was putting myself out there in situations where I had to meet and connect with people. I was joining societies and performing in student theater. I became active in student government. I started looking for groups of people built around shared interests like video games, anime, and music, and joining those as well. So long story short, I entered university alone and I left university with a literal room full of friends. Not only am I no longer nervous about meeting people, it's one of my hobbies. I love meeting new people and having conversations with them, as everyone has their own unique experience to share with the world. So keep in mind that when I talk about these things, that I'm experienced, and that I'm just not some dude born with a natural talent for this. Oh no, fam, not by a long shot. So now let's talk about the advice. And the first point here I want to touch on is the fear of meeting people. Now, some people are nervous when it comes to meeting others, and admittedly, I was too at first. And if you're one of these people, I have good news and bad news for you. The bad news is there are no two ways about this. The only way to overcome this fear is to actually get out there and meet people. It's going to feel awkward, and you may even be visibly nervous at first. But here's where the good news comes into play. The more you do it, the easier it gets. So every time you find yourself in a situation like this, it'll feel less awkward. It'll feel less nerve-wracking than the previous time. Now, to quote the show BoJack Horseman, it gets easier. Every day it gets a little easier, but you gotta do it every day, and that's the hard part. But it does get easier. The next point I want to touch on is actually meeting people. Try to meet people every day. Now, admittedly, doing this in person may not be possible for most people, myself included, but online, which is what we're focusing on here, is definitely possible. And this is the thing. I put myself out there and I try to meet new people every day. I search for them using hashtags, subject searches, and through threads. I also look at my friends. I look at my friends' streams, their videos, their art, or their games, and I see their friends interacting with it. And I interact with them because of those streams, those videos, those games, that art. And those things become a shared interest, fam. I'll give you an example of this. So I've mentioned before, Tsar Khan is my favorite streamer. Not only is he my favorite streamer, but he's also a damn good friend of mine. And through him and his content, I've also met some other friends, two of which I'll mention here, two amazing streamers, Chrundle and Princess Tofu. Please check all of these people out, by the way. But we bonded in the chat of Tsar Khan's stream. And shared interest is something you can hear me mention a lot going forward. And the next point I want to talk about is starting conversations. To try to strike up conversations, try to find commonalities or shared points of interest. Like, look for things they're into that you are into too. Do they like an anime or a show you're into? Are they into a game or some music that you like? If so, fam, then bam, you have a conversation starter. You might say something like, oh, have you seen the latest episode of Better Call Saul? Or what did you think about the ending of Toradora? Or how far have you made it in Power World? Compliments are another great conversation starter. See somebody with a great avatar or profile picture? Compliment it. Meeting an artist or singer? Compliment their work. Like, for example, I really love your picture. Who did your art? Or, wow, it looks like a very interesting place. Where were you? Or, I love the look of your work. Or, I love the sound of your voice. Or, and this is one of my personal favorites, who inspired you? And this is something I really want to stress here. Be sincere, be genuine. No matter if you're trying to start a conversation via making compliments or looking for commonalities, be genuine. Don't claim you like something if you don't really like it. You're aiming to make friends, and it's never a good idea to base any relationship on dishonesty. The next point I want to talk about is, don't just be active in your own community. It can be very tempting, especially when you first start out, to just be active in your own communities. Whether it's the VTuber community, the YouTuber community, or one of its sub-communities. The indie dev community, or the art community. You don't want to do that. Instead, try to find outside communities to interact with as a YouTuber, VTuber, artist, or game dev. Take stock of your hobbies, your interests, and the types of subjects you want to cover in your video, streams, art, or games, and try to find communities built around these. For example, I interact with the indie game, the indie film, the ska punk, coffee, cartoon, anime, UFO, and Linux communities as a YouTuber. I follow accounts associated with these on Twitter, and I search related hashtags on a regular basis too. Find subreddits and discords related to these subjects, and posting there too can help out greatly in meeting people. These can also be great places to promote yourself, but keep in mind, don't just use these places to promote yourself only, but also interact with the places outside of self-promotion. And as you can see, this is what I do with both the Beavis and Butthead subreddit and also the UFO subreddit communities. Sometimes I'll post my content there, but I'll also, outside of self-promotion, I'll interact with their posts. I'll make other posts not related to my content as well, or I'll reply to threads there. And that's a good way to build a connection and to make friends. The next point I want to talk about is dealing with rejection. Some people have a fear of rejection. And again here, there are no two ways about this. You're going to get the door slammed in your face several times, especially early on when you first start out. Shake the dust from your feet and try again elsewhere, fam. Some people may even shit talk you for it. Some people may even look at you like, who are you? Or who do you think you are? And here I want you to remember two things. Firstly, what people say about you doesn't define who you are. Instead, in my opinion, a person is the sum total of their thoughts, actions, and motivations. And so what other people say have no bearing on who you are as a person, as a creator, as an artist, and likewise it should have no bearing on your interests or hobbies. And secondly, remember, the caravan doesn't stop for the barking of dogs. So no matter how good you are, people are always going to talk shit about you, or at least some people will. Again, that doesn't define who you are as a person. Just keep going, fam. Or, as John Feldman, the lead singer of Goldfinger, one of my favorite bands, so eloquently put it, in a musical context.
If you're in a band, don't give up and don't listen to anyone's shit. Just keep fucking going, alright?
And the last point I want to touch on is, go for quality and not quantity. It's much better to have 5, 10, or 15 real friends and connections than 1,000 so-so or fair weather friends. Now, just as it's important to meet new people, you must also maintain your nearest and dearest. Don't forget who was there when you first started. Those are likely people who are going to still be there, when you get bigger, and they're likely to be sincere people. Like, I love meeting new people. As I mentioned before, it's one of my hobbies. However, I have my nearest and dearest. I have my inner circle. I have the bird cult, for example, if you follow me on Twitter. And I also have other people, not in the bird cult, but people I would consider in my inner circle as well. People that have been there for me since the very beginning. And again, as much as I love meeting new people, at the end of the day, those people, my friends that's been there for a long time, those are my ride or die. So try to find a balance there. And that's been my advice for networking. Now, much like I mentioned in my advice for public speaking, the skills we talked about here today, these are skills anybody can develop. But here's the thing, they have to be developed. You have to put forth the effort, and I believe you can. Now, with that said, I want to turn around and ask you, do you agree or disagree with this advice? Have you tried any of this before? Is there anything you'd like to add? Well, please comment below and let me know. I'd love to hear from you, fam. And with that, we'll call the video here. Welcome back to another Big Mike Slate. The part of the video that's not really part of the video, and it's all natural, uncut, pure Duck Daddy, baby. It's very nice to see you all again. With this Slate, I just wanted to give like a little look behind the scenes of how stuff like this video happens. Now, with most of my videos, when I talk about UFOs, when I talk about Beavis and Butthead, when I talk about indie games, or anything that requires a high amount of accuracy, I follow a strict script. I write it out, and I read it. Now, sometimes I'll ad-lib some here and there, but for the most part, I go strict by the script. But in these life advice videos, these storytime videos, or these my channel updates, I go in with just like an outline, and I kind of wing, I would say I wing like somewhere between 50 to 75% of it. So if my life advice videos or my channel update videos feel a little bit more loose than my normal content, that's probably why. Also, I feel like it adds a good deal of familiarity to it, and I feel like it helps me have a better connection with all of you, my lovely audience. Now, something else I want to talk about here is that I want to do in the coming weeks a viewer mailbag. And so, what I mean by that is, I want people who, interact with me, who watch my content, to send me messages. Your messages can be, fan mail, it can be hate mail, it can be questions, or you can share your opinion with me on something completely unrelated to me or my content. And you can ask for my opinion on said subject as well. But regardless, I would love to hear from you. So far I have 2. I would like to have at least 5 in order to do that. And feel free to say whatever you want to me. You can say, oh, I love you, Michael. You're so awesome. You're so sexy. I want you to have my babies. Or you can say, can you please shut up? Your voice is annoying, you stupid idiot. Say whatever you want to me, as long as it's within the YouTube terms of service. It's not going to get me banned on YouTube, because I will be reading these. It's not going to get me canceled. Also, it's not going to get me doxxed too. So as long as it meets those criteria, feel free to share anything you like with me. And I would like, ideally, to get that out maybe 2nd, 3rd week in April. Now, my next video, I'm aiming for my next video to be my first anime-related content. However, that may or may not happen, as there's set to be, on the 30th of March, a huge announcement about the Sonic hacking contest, which, if you know anything about me, is my second biggest gaming event of the year, second only to Sage. Now, depending on how big or earth-shattering that news is, I may be doing a reaction video to that. So next week's video could either be that reaction video or an anime-related video. But regardless, an anime-related video is going to happen. It'll either be next week or the week after next. And with that, that's pretty much all I have to share here, fam. So special thanks to Fran, who does a wonderful job doing my art. She's coming back to Twitter soon, so please give her a follow. And also please consider commissioning her for all your art needs. She is a phenomenal artist. She is a phenomenal person, and you would not be disappointed. I give you my word on that, fam. Also, special thanks to all of my friends on Twitter. I wouldn't be here without you all. And also a special thanks to all of you for watching. Please like this video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it. And hey, you know what? Comment below, let me hear from you, fam. I really love when you guys comment on my videos. I love hearing from you. You know, you can tell me you absolutely hate this video. You can tell me, oh, Michael, I want you to have my babies. Well, maybe not that last one. My wife might get a little too jealous about that. But please feel free to tell me whatever you want. And if you like my content, please subscribe and turn your notifications on. Until next time, fam, remember, just be yourself and you'll be awesome. Peace out!